Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Lad on C++ programming. So in this tutorial we're going to be learning something called an inline function in C++. So here, just for the demonstration purpose, I have created a function called display, which is not going to return any values and it's going to take one parameter, and in this function we're just printing out the value passed to this parameter, and we are calling that function and passing a value of 10. So when we call a function, generally it causes certain overheads such as stack, arguments, jumps, etc. And this is gonna take some execution time. So when we call this function 10 times, the parameters of this function and all these things will be stored in the stacks, and the control should be transferred from this main function to the display function. All these things should be done, and this takes some execution time. So what we can do is, if you are calling a very short function like the one which we have written here, then you guys can use a keyword called inline. So when we use this keyword inline with a function, the compiler is gonna place the code of that function in the place where we call that function. So here I'm gonna save this and run this. So you guys can see we got 10. What happens here is, when this display function is encountered, there is a overhead of stacking the arguments or the jumps. Instead of placing the arguments in the stack and passing the control to this display function, what we can do is we can make the compiler to place this code, whatever the code which we have written in this display function, to be placed here. The compiler is going to automatically do that. To do that, we're going to use the keyword inline. So when we use this inline, the compiler is going to automatically put the code in this place, where we have called this function, and there will not be any function calls. So this works as it was working before. So I'm gonna save and run this. So you guys can see 10. What happens is, this is equal to this one. So instead of calling the function, the statements of that function will be placed here. Okay, the next thing is where we can use this inline keyword, or when to use this inline keyword with the functions. So let's say that our display function here, which we have written, is very large. If we use this inline keyword, what happens is the compiler is going to place the statements of that function where we call our function. So if you have called our function 10 times, then the compiler is going to place that code 10 times in our executable one. So that's why the size of the executable will increase. And also, frequently using this inline keyword with large functions are not the convenient options, because when we talk about the ability to write good code, the executable should be of small size. That's why don't use this inline keyword with the large functions, and only use it with the short functions, so that there is no need of any stacking the arguments or any function calls, so that your program's performance will be increased just a bit. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like my Facebook page at facebook.com/learninglad, and if you guys have any doubt, don't hesitate to ask us, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.